Hello, my name is Alex, and this week, by the suggestion of Ali Hall, I'm going to be discussing alchemy.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I have insomnia. So every night I'll be doing the research to answer the questions you ask me, and then I'll present it all to you in a 3 to 4 minute video. Enjoy!
So alchemy has been around for a really long time. In theory, it's been around for many thousands of years, but the first mention of what I'm going to consider the start of alchemy was about 100 AD. And that starting point, I'm considering the mention of the Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone was first mentioned in a text around 100 AD, but we now really just know it because of Harry Potter, at least in the UK, where it's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So alchemy is really based on this concept that you can transform one thing into another. This concept is called transmutation, and it can be applied to just about anything, but typically we think of it as just being applied to transforming metals into gold. That's what we now remember the alchemists for, is their desire to transform basic metals into gold. Which is really unfortunate, because, well, the alchemists were crazy. They're the foundation of chemistry. They explored distillation, crystallization, and sublimation. I mean, they were the foundation of chemistry. And it wasn't until about 1700 that we really started to use chemistry and alchemy as different terms. But getting back to what alchemy actually is. See, we have this idea that alchemy is about transforming things into gold for riches, which in part is true, and that's really what became of alchemy. But that's not what it was founded on. Without sounding like I love alchemy, which I don't, I think it's really interesting. Alchemy was really about transforming the self and making a more perfect everything. The reason why alchemists wanted to transform metals into gold was because gold is this untarnishable metal. It's pretty much a perfect metal, especially in the eyes of ancients who didn't have things like steel. But alchemy wasn't just about converting metals into more perfect metals. It was also about converting the self into a more perfect self. And that's where the concept of living forever or creating immortality through a philosopher's stone comes into play. The idea was that through this perfect essence, you could create an entity that allowed you to live forever in a perfectly healthy state. The irony was that these people, these alchemists that worked with metals, they worked with mercury a lot, and as a result, most alchemists ended up dying about 15 years prior to their normal life expectancy based on when they lived. So alchemists were really dooming themselves by trying to create this more perfect universe. Now, the historical aspect of alchemy is also pretty interesting, because if people could just create gold, that would really mess with kingdoms, that would mess with society in general. So in pretty much every kingdom in Europe, alchemy was banned. The funny thing is that even though it was banned, pretty much every kingdom had alchemists on their court, because while you don't want the commoner to be producing gold, it'd be nice if the kingdom could. But it eventually fell out of favor because alchemists weren't producing gold and they weren't producing extraordinary lifespans. They were really producing nothing, or at least that's what it appeared. They were actually building the foundation of chemistry, which is incredible, but at the time, not doing much of anything. Ironically, as a result of their research that eventually led to the magic that we live in now, we can create gold from other elements. The problem is, it can cost somewhere around $100 million for a microgram. So, while we can do it, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, the idea of you guys telling me what to research, I really like. But the problem is that there are too many ideas for me to research in any given week. So continue posting your ideas down here for 2 weeks from now. But this week, click on one of these 4 links and tell me which you want me to research. I'll see you next Friday.